Have you ever stopped to think about how much we rely on magnets? I mean, seriously, it's kind of wild when you realize how many technologies use magnetism.
Oh, yeah.
Your phone, your car, computers, even just simple things like a compass. But when you think about it, the way we control magnets now, it feels a bit clunky.
Yeah, it's true.
Big coils, tons of electricity, and it's just not very efficient.
Uh,
So today, we're going to dive deep into a new discovery that could change all that.
okay.
It's called altermagnetism. And what makes it so exciting is that researchers think we can control it using something we're all familiar with, electric fields.
Interesting.
So if you've ever wondered if there's a simpler, more elegant way to manage magnetism, you're in for a treat. We'll be looking at some really recent research published in the journal Physical Review Letters, with findings from scientists like Tong Zhu and groups led by Qihang Liu and Libor Mabikal. This is cutting-edge science, folks, so buckle up and get ready for a wild ride.
I'm ready.
Now, before we jump into ultramagnetism, let's just do a quick refresher on the basics of magnetism. Sounds good.
Just to make sure everyone's on the same page.
Right.
So traditionally, when we talk about magnetism and materials, we're usually dealing with two main types. First, there's ferromagnetism.
The classic.
Yeah, this is your typical magnet, like the ones on your fridge or a compass needle.
Uh-huh.
The key thing here is that all the little magnetic moments inside the atoms are all lined up in the same direction.
Right, they're all pointing the same way.
And that creates that strong magnetic force that we can feel.
Exactly.
But then, about 100 years ago, scientists discovered something called antiferromagnetism. Now, these materials also have magnetic moments in their atoms.
Okay.
But instead of all pointing in the same direction, they alternate.
So like one up, one down.
Exactly, one up, one down.
And so they cancel each other out.
Yeah, they're still organized, but they effectively cancel each other out.
Gotcha.
So there's no overall magnetic field that you can detect easily.
Makes sense. All right, so that's our basic magnetism 101. But now, enter altermagnetism. This is a relatively new discovery, and it's kind of a hybrid of the two we just talked about.
Interesting.
So like antiferromagnets, altermagnets have these alternating magnetic moments.
Okay.
But what makes them special is that they don't just simply cancel each other out.
So there's something more going on.
Exactly. There's this whole other layer of complexity. You see, the way the atoms are arranged in these altermagnets, it creates a very specific electronic band structure.
Right.
And this band structure leads to electrons with really strong spins.
Ah, okay.
But here's the kicker. The direction of these spins flips at different energy levels.
So even though there's no overall magnetism,
Right.
there's still a lot of spin action happening inside.
That's it. It's like this hidden magnetic world within the material.
I like that. A hidden magnetic world.
And this has big implications for a field called spintronics, which is all about using electron spin to carry information.
Right, like how electronics use electron charge.
Exactly. So instead of just the charge, we're also using the spin to do work.
That's cool.
And altermagnets, because they have these strong spin properties, but no overall magnetism,
They could be perfect for that.
they could be game changers for building more efficient spintronic devices.
I see, so that's why they're so exciting.
Precisely. Now, here's the next challenge. We've got this exciting new type of magnetism, but how do we actually control it?
Yeah, that's the big question.
That's where these researchers come in with their proposals to use electric fields.
Oh, okay. Instead of magnetic field.
Exactly. Because if you think about it, the way we usually manipulate magnets, it's pretty cumbersome.
Yeah, it's all big and bulky.
Right. Lots of wires, lots of energy.
Uh-huh.
But electric fields, they're much easier to generate and control, especially at tiny scales.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Plus, and this is a big one, using electric fields could potentially be orders of magnitude faster.
Wow.
We're talking sub-nanosecond switching speeds.
That's incredibly fast.
And on top of that, they'd use a lot less energy.
So it's a win-win.
Absolutely. Faster, smaller, and more energy efficient. It's a triple threat. All right, so let's get into the specifics of how they propose to do this.
Okay, let's hear it.
One group, led by Tong Zhu, came up with this really interesting idea. They call it an antiferroelectric altermagnet, or a FEM for short.
A theme, got it.
Now, to understand this, we need to talk about antiferroelectric materials for a second.
Right.
It's kind of like the electric version of an antiferromagnet.
Okay, so instead of magnetic moments,
Right.
they have electric dipoles that cancel each other out.
Exactly. They have these electric dipoles, which are basically regions with positive and negative charges.
Okay.
And in an antiferroelectric material, these dipoles are arranged in a way that they cancel each other out.
So no overall electric polarization.
You got it. Now, what Zhu and his team envisioned was a material that would have both these antiferroelectric and altermagnetic properties combined.
Interesting.
And in this material, the arrangement of the electric dipoles would be directly linked to the arrangement of the magnetic spins.
So they're connected somehow.
Exactly. They're linked through the material's crystal structure.
I see.
And here's the genius part. They propose that if you apply a small electric field, you can force those electric dipoles to flip and align.
Oh.
So it basically becomes a ferroelectric material where all the dipoles point the same way.
And that changes the magnetic properties.
That's the key. In this new state, the material is no longer an altermagnet.
What does it become?
It turns into a regular antiferromagnet where the magnetic moments aren't in that special arrangement needed for the strong spin polarization.
So the spin current is basically turned off.
Precisely. You apply the electric field, you turn the spin current off, remove the field, it's back on again.
Like a switch.
Exactly. That's why Dr. Zhu called it a hidden switch within the material.
That's a great analogy.
Now, the other two research groups we mentioned, led by Qihang Liu and Libor Ameshkal, they're also exploring ways to control altermagnetism with electric fields.
Okay, but their approach is different.
Yeah, their approaches are a bit different. They're both focusing on a type of altermagnet that's also ferroelectric.
So it has both magnetic and electric properties.
Right. And they're suggesting that the electric field can actually interact with the crystal structure itself, causing tiny distortions.
I see.
And these distortions then affect the energy levels of electrons with different spins, which in turn influences the magnetic properties.
So the electric field is indirectly controlling the magnetism through the crystal structure.
Exactly. Liu's group, for example, talks about something called the John Teller distortion, where the bonds between atoms can stretch or shrink.
Interesting.
And they think an electric field could manipulate this distortion to control the spin polarization.
Clever.
While Emishkal's proposal involves rotations of entire sublattice units within the crystal. He thinks applying an electric field can cause these units to rotate, which then flips the ferroelectric polarization.
Right.
And he believes this is directly linked to the altermagnetic properties.
So they both see ways to use electric fields to fine-tune the magnetic behavior.
Exactly. It's really amazing to see how many different ideas are already emerging in this field.
Yeah, it's very promising.
But at this point, you might be asking, okay, all this is cool, but what does it mean for me?
That's the important question.
Right. What's the real-world impact of all this research?
Well, if these scientists can actually create these electrically controlled magnetic switches, the possibilities are huge.
Huge how? Give me some examples.
Think about memory storage, for example.
Okay.
Imagine memory that's way faster, both for reading and writing data.
That would be amazing.
And it could be much more energy efficient, too.
Oh, it's even better.
We might even see new types of memory that don't lose data when the power goes off.
No more waiting for your computer to boot up.
Exactly. It could be instant.
That would be a game changer.
And it's not just about memory.
What else?
Think about all the electronics we use every day.
My phone, my laptop.
All of those could become way more energy efficient.
So longer battery life.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's something we all want.
Tell me about it.
And then there's the potential for spintronics.
Right, we talked about that earlier.
Being able to easily control spin currents with electric fields could lead to entirely new types of devices.
What kind of devices?
We could see new sensors, new logic gates, even new forms of computing that leverage spin.
Wow, it sounds like we're talking about a whole new technological revolution.
Potentially, yes. Of course we have to be realistic.
Right.
This is still very early stage research. There's a lot more work to be done to actually create these materials and build practical devices. But the early results are definitely exciting.
I'm excited just hearing about it. So, to sum up our deep dive today, we've explored this new frontier of magnetism, altermagnetism. We've seen how it combines elements of both ferromagnetism and antiferromagnetism. And we've talked about how scientists are proposing to use electric fields to control it, potentially leading to faster, more energy efficient, and entirely new types of devices. It really makes you wonder what other hidden secrets are lurking within the materials all around us.
It does, doesn't it? Like, what other hidden switches are waiting to be discovered?
That's a great question to leave our listeners pondering. And on that note, we wrap up this deep dive into the fascinating world of altermagnetism. If you enjoyed this exploration of cutting-edge science, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives like this. And be sure to let us know in the comments what other topics you'd like us to explore in future episodes. We love hearing your suggestions. And just a heads up, we might explore partnerships with relevant scientific tool or educational resource providers in future deep dives through affiliate marketing. So stay tuned for more exciting explorations. Until next time, keep those minds curious.